So I figured out how to do the login stuff with a driver and a class separated, and I figured out also why I didn't know what to do in class. It's because I never did this. In the original instructions that I was looking at, there was a specification that you don't have to make this between like a class and a driver. So I didn't. I just made it all in one main method, and it was really easy, and it made sense. This makes a little bit less sense, but I figured out how I can do it. So let's take a look at what I did. So here is my, I don't like this toString. It's supposed to print out my object in some form, and I'm actually using it to do stuff. So that's why I didn't like this. I don't like this right now as it is. But let's see what happens. Okay, so I create my instance variables called username and pass for the username and the password, and then my zero argument constructor that puts nothing in them. I don't actually ever use that. And then what happens? What do I do? I create my two argument constructor or multi-argument constructor, and that's where I accept a login username and a login pass. So that just gets assigned to username and pass. And then my toString, which I don't really like doing this, but I created, I can change this, new string, there's nothing in it. Or I could just put empty parentheses there, but I could, so I create my toString, and then there's a new way to use, a way to use, it's not new, but a new way to me to use the toString method. So this is what I do. In the toString method, I create a string called output, and then I conditionally choose the output to be something based on whether the password and username are correct. So inside this class, I can manipulate these private variables. Outside of this class, like in a driver, I cannot manipulate these variables. So that was the trouble that I was running into in my thinking. So I just made the conditions inside my toString, which is inside this class. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So I'm saying if username dot equals, because username is a string, if I tried to do username dot equals in here and reference this username from my an instance of login, if I try to create something in login like I do here, I made it Reddit account. If I said Reddit account dot username dot equals or whatever, I would get an error that says like it's a private variable. Username is a private variable, and I wouldn't be able to manipulate it at all. So that's the problem I was running into. But I can manipulate it as long as I'm inside this login class. So it's private to this class. So that's where I manipulate it. I say if username dot equals password is taco, and pass dot equals taco. So if the username is password is taco and the password is taco, then the output that I just created is going to be login successful. So it's not going to actually output my two instance variables. It's going to just say login successful. Then if it's not true, if any one of these is incorrect, then I'll say sorry, please try again. So and then that's it. So if this is true, then this output will be login successful. Else the output will be sorry, please try again. So I did all of that, and I'm like, okay, compile, that's great. Then I created my driver. Perhaps I'll compile that. Okay. And I didn't have my while loop, so I'll comment it out so it's easier to read. Shoot, now I don't know what the heck's going on. Comment that out, comment that out. So what the heck, this is what I did first. I said, okay, import the scanner class, and then print out to the screen, enter username. Okay, great. accept that username and store it into input and like change it to a string. So this is the normal way to use the scanner class. And then I store that in use name. So whatever the user types in will be stored into use name. And then I said, okay, enter password. And I stored it in use pass. I don't have to create a new scanner just because I already created one up here. So I stored it into use pass. So username is stored into use name. Password is stored into use pass. And then I create an instance of login. So this is where I'm using this class. So I say login. Let's create something called login and name it Reddit account. So this would be my Reddit account information. And it's going to have a username and a password. And I'm going to use this constructor right here. So let's close that. So I would have login, Reddit account, new, login, and whatever the user put in, I pass through so that I can make my Reddit account login object. So the information that the user typed in gets sent to or created. What am I trying to say? I use this information to create my Reddit account login. It's like my data type login, if you want to think about it like that. So the stuff that the user typed in gets sent to this class, and it's constructing a username and a password. And that account information is called Reddit account. Okay, then I say if Reddit account dot toString. So this, if I actually wanted, I could print that out. Maybe I will. Compile. Does this compile? Yes. If I wanted to, I can say, let's do something here. System. This is the new part that I learned with my Googling. That system.out.println. If I wanted to print out whatever was in my toString, if I wanted to print out whatever was in here, then I could just say system.out.reddit account, and it would print out whatever is in my toString. And my toString I made conditional. So that would do the trick. But the same thing is .toString. Like this would actually do the exact same thing. It takes the Reddit account and it transforms it into a string. So this is just like putting in the words logging successful or sorry please try again. It's just like having those words. So this and this do exactly the same thing. In fact, I can compile that, everything's fine, or I can do .toString. Compile that and everything should be fine. Let's see what happens if I run it. I don't actually know what will happen, but let's try. So enter username. I will say something. Sorry, please try again. Sorry, please try again. Why does it print that out twice? And then it ends my program. Doesn't it? It's ended, right? I think so. So why did it print out twice? Well, I said if this stuff, if that, which was a toString, or it was a string, if that dot equals, because this stuff right here, from here to here, is a string. I took whatever was in Reddit account and I converted it to a string. So of course I can go dot equals, because it's a string here. If that equals sorry please try again, then I'm going to increment my count. Well, whatever that is. And we'll talk about that in a minute, I think. And then use my toString. Again, I could have done this part again right here. It's the same exact thing. Just know that the toString method just converts this to a string exactly how you specify. So that's what I learned when I was fiddling around with this. So I said, okay, if this string is this, I'm pretty much just checking if password is taco is the username and taco is the password. Because I know if it says login successful, then I know the password is taco is the username and taco is the password. So here I say if this stuff equals sorry please try again, that means the password and or the username and the password are incorrect. So it's my way of getting around it. And then so I knew if it was sorry please try again, I knew that the password and the username were incorrect, so I incremented my count. So count is 1. And then I have it run all the way through again, and I have a loop all the way surrounding this. Okay, so then if I said, well, if my toString didn't print out sorry please try again, it must have printed out login successful. I already know that because I only have 2 options here, and I'm using my toString method. So else print out whatever's there because I know it's going to say login successful, and then I said count gets 4, whatever that means. So hopefully this makes sense. If I type in something, let's get rid of this. If I type in something correct, it should output login successful. If I type something incorrect, it should say sorry please try again. And this is without any loop. So compile, let's see if that works. So let's do something incorrect, which I think we already saw. Enter password, sorry please try again, and then my program ends. If I do it correctly, enter username, password is taco, and then password is taco. Login successful. Okay, great. That works how I want it. Now I want to put it in a loop. Remember, I mean, normally I wouldn't have this stuff in my toString, but I did this time just because, I mean, I don't think creating a class and a driver was necessary. But we did it anyway. Let's look at the driver and make this loop happen. So what I did was I said, all right, let's create this count variable called count and put all of my stuff inside a loop. I'll just get rid of all of this. Comment. Ugh, that's ugly. Tab. Tab again. There we go. So I created this integer called count, and I initialized it to 0. And then I said while count is less than 3. All right, so immediately this loop executes because count is 0 for the first time. So then I have well, all of this stuff. It asks the user for a username and a password, and then it creates an instance of login, and I call it Reddit account because that's my information supposedly for my Reddit account. And then I put in whatever the user typed in, and then I say, okay, let's look at that toString, Reddit account.toString. Let's look at that string. If it says sorry please try again, I know that usename and usepass were not the ones I wanted. So if they're not the ones I wanted, let's increment the count. And then print out sorry, please try again. Because again, my toString says if that's not correct, it prints out sorry, please try again. Okay. So suppose they typed in the wrong username and the wrong password. Count gets incremented. So count would be 1. It would skip the else. It would get to this curly brace, and then it would go back and say, is count less than 3? Well, 1 is less than 3, so it asks again for the username and password. Type it in again. Suppose they did it wrong again. Then it would say, all right, let's look at the string. Is it sorry, please try again? That means is the username and password correct? You'd say, well, if it's sorry, please try again, we already said it was wrong, so they're going to increment count once more and then print out sorry, please try again. Skips the else, increments, well, it already incremented, so now it's 2. 2 is still less than 3, so this is actually the 3rd attempt right here. They type it in wrong, then it says sorry, please try again. Like that's what the Reddit account, when it's converted to a string, that's what it'll say. And then count will get incremented to 3. and it'll print out, sorry, please try again, and then it'll skip this else. It'll go back and it'll say count, which will be 3. Is it less than 3? No. Okay, so it skips all the way down to this. If count is equal to 3, meaning they typed it in incorrectly 3 times, then also print out next period. I already know that they printed out, sorry, please try again, so this is my way around that. And then I put in the next period, and it's just in the next line. And then that's the end of my program. So let's run it and do it wrong 3 times and see if it's like I said. Let's compile it. So enter username. I'm going to do it wrong. Sorry, please try again. Enter username. Enter password. Sorry, please try again. So that was 1 time, 2 times. Here's my 3rd attempt. Sorry, please try again. Next period. So then it stops that. Okay, great. I mean, I'm sure I could do it a different way, but I'm tired of working on this one. So what happens if they get it correct, though? Let's see. If so, count is 0, and then enter username, enter password, pass it, make your instance of a login called Reddit account. Great. Put in the username and the password that the user typed in, and it will be, suppose it's correct. This is what I want. This is password is taco, and then this one is taco. Then it would check this. It's saying, is it going to print out, sorry, please try again? Meaning, we're going to look at this, and it's not going to be any of these, because if it was, actually, no, it will be this, right? It will be this. So it'll say, if this is true, then output gets this, and then the toString returns this string. Great. So we're assuming that we type in the correct stuff, so it's not going to be sorry, please try again. This is going to evaluate to login successful. So this Reddit account .toString, that's going to change to a string that says login successful. So this will not execute because it'll be login successful. So else print out Reddit account, which will be login successful, and then change the count to 4. I can change it to like 12 or any number. Really, that's not 3. I'm just skipping over that 3rd part because I don't want to print the next period part. So then compile, then it works. So it'll say login successful. It'll exit this. It'll get to the end of this, and it'll say, oh, now count is 12. Is that less than 3? Heck no, it's not. So it'll go all the way to this. It'll check count. Is it 3? No, it's not. So this won't run either. And then my program will end, hopefully. So let's run it and type in the correct information. Username, password is taco. Password, taco. Login successful. Thank goodness. Hopefully that was understandable. I doubt it though. But you know what? I'm done anyway. How do I close this option? No, escape. That's the one.